What's the Swedish market doing for the microbreweries in the US?
Yeah, so Sweden currently represents the number 2 market for American craft beer exporters in Europe right now, after the United Kingdom. So we've been tracking and actively engaged in promoting American craft beer exports for a little over 20 years now. And Sweden has always been a very receptive market to the beers that are being produced in the United States. And of course, since then, in the last 20 years, Sweden has developed its own local craft beer industry that is producing some similar beers, but also, creating their own, say, controversy within beer, defining styles, using different ingredients, but it's all kind of the same culture. And I think that appreciation of high quality ingredients and the culture that comes with craft beer is shared both by the US beer drinker and the Swedish beer drinkers. So currently, of all of the exports that come out of the United States for American craft beer, it's around 5.5% of our exports come to Sweden. And this is going to be our 21st year participating in the Stockholm Beer and Whiskey Festival. So we've been coming here for a very long time and have always had a great reception to the beers that we bring out. And part of that has been obviously building a relationship with the local, government monopoly, Systembolaget. And, we continue to see those tenders come out that make an option and an availability for our beers, whether it be, seasonals in the fall, we have pumpkin beers coming to the market, or just the classic American IPAs. So this is a very important market for us.
What do you think of the Swedes' knowledge in beer?
Well, I think we saw today during the beer and food pairing lunch that, along with that beer drinking culture, there is a robust community of interest in beer styles and pairing, and that's kind of grown with that local brewing community that we have also seen inside of the United States. So, from what I've seen here in Sweden, there is a very strong and prominent craft beer culture, even if it's not quite mainstream yet, and we're still seeing that in the same thing in the United States. 10% by volume, 25% by sales is currently the craft beer market in the United States. No matter where we go in the world, craft beer is not the majority, but it's a small segment of that consumer that's looking for those fuller flavored products, that's willing to pay a premium for a higher quality product.
The craft beer industry in US and the march into Swedish market has changed the Swedish vision of American beer, because earlier it was only like Budweiser, and it was like making love in a canoe.
Yes, that's the old joke. Yeah. That's the old joke. And we're a country that obviously didn't have a very long-standing tradition when it comes to beer. You think of some of the places like Germany or Belgium or the UK, where their history of beer goes back a very long time. And I'm sure Sweden has, some semblance of that as well. But at least in the United States, when our home brewers, when our early craft brewers were getting started, they were defining their own new thing, using the ingredients that were available to them at the time. And so, I think there's certainly there's something to admire with some of those markets where there is that history and tradition. They make incredible beers, but we're really proud of some of the innovation and creativity that's come out of the United States that is also being seen here in Sweden as well.
You have a joint bar monitor at the Stockholm Beer and Whiskey Festival, who is starting tomorrow Friday and going on Saturday as well. What does this festival mean for the craft beer in the US?
Yeah, like I said, this is our 21st year of being in Sweden for this festival. This is the longest standing activity outside of the US that we've been doing. So this is a really important event to us. We have 63 different beers being poured at the US Brewery Pavilion from 21 different breweries from California all the way to New York and Maine. So there's a little bit of something for everybody, whether it's, something light, crisp, and easy drinking, to some of the beers that we just tasted here to finish off this dinner, where it's a 15% barrel-aged imperial stout, and you get some of those, really intense bourbon barrel notes. And so Stockholm Beer and Whiskey Festival has been a great platform for us to come and showcase that variety, that that creativity, that innovation, where not only are we engaging with the Swedish beer lover, there's that community of beer lovers that come to this event, but there's also the industry and trade where we can engage with the buyers and do some business, but also with the local brewers, because one of the things that I love most about this event is the ability for our brewers to come out here to interact with the local brewers, because you put two different brewers in the same room, it doesn't matter what country they're from or what their origins are, they're going to start talking about the thing that they love, and you see that shared passion that kind of disregards nationality or backgrounds. It's that appreciation of great beer and great food.
I have talked to some of the brewers here, and they are like a family. No competition, just family.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we've always prided ourselves over, is the community within craft beer. And even today, where, there's close to 10,000 craft breweries inside of the United States today. And the shelves are more full. The competition is higher than ever, and I think it makes it more difficult to see that friendship from a competitive business. But yet we see it at an event today, and we'll see it tomorrow and through this weekend, that community, that allyship within this community, where they want to make great beer, and they love to showcase their products, and they find a partner even in the brewery down the street that's making something similar to them, where they can talk about the arts. It's about the arts. The business is important. You need to be able to turn on the lights and pay your staff, of course. But there's the appreciation of the art and science that goes into making a great beer that I think unites people. And so when times are tough, when times are great, it still brings people together over a beer to talk about those things and find out solutions. You celebrate, you have, a bad day, you can still have a beer and brighten your mood.
If you are choosing, you can choose whatever beer you want, but you have to have an avec with it. And say whiskey. Are you going for American bourbon, a Canadian whiskey, Irish whiskey, or Scotch?
You're asking me to choose between the whiskeys?
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? I love an American bourbon. I have started to dabble in the Scotch and some of those smoky profiles, and that's kind of stemmed a little bit from some of my experimentation with beer as I've been introduced to some of the beers from Bamberg that had that smoky profile, and that has kind of introduced me to the smoky whiskeys as well. I think if I had to choose, I got to stay allegiance to the American bourbon. I love that flavor profile and the American oak and the 51% corn that goes into those recipes. It's part of what I grew up on. Well, of course, didn't grow up on, but in my alcohol drinking years, and so that would be my choice.
What are you looking forward the most during this weekend?
Well, we have 8 brewery representatives from across the United States out here, and so for me, it's really exciting to bring them to the country of Sweden, showcase the local brewing community, and I think, again, this event creates this unification of people that appreciate full flavor and the ability to try different styles, and there's something for everybody. So if you're looking for a light beer that's crisp and easy drinking, or you're looking for something that's a little bit more experimental, we got it. And so I'm looking forward to just seeing people from different cultures come together and enjoy high quality products.
Me and my friends, when we are get together, we get to buy a Christmas calendar, so we have 24 beers of a certain style.
It's like an advent calendar.
And we have a taste experience at home. What do you think about that?
I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it plays nicely into the festive vibes of the holiday, and we've done a similar project in the Netherlands where we created a 24-pack of 24 different beers for the holidays from different states across the U.S., and I think it's a fun way to try new things and experiment with friends.
And the final question is, what's your favorite type of beer?
I'm a seasonal guy, so as the weather changes, my beer drinking habits change as well. So this whole last summer, I was drinking Pilsners and West Coast IPAs, but now as it's getting cooler, and we've had our pumpkin beer releases in the United States, where I'm switching more to things like brown ales and dry Irish stouts. And then as the snow starts to come down in Colorado, of course, you get some of those bourbon barrel-aged whiskey beers that really go with the season. So I don't stick to one style. I go with whatever I'm in the mood for and the environment surrounding me. And that's the beautiful thing about beers, that, you know, there's not a style that I dislike, there's just not the right time and place. And so depending on where you are, there's a right beer for it.